Well, I'm here at Maggot fishery. It's a 3-lake complex, and I'm going to try and catch a tench. Now, tench traditionally in the UK would be an early summer species, I want to call it. They tend to go off a bit in August, and you can catch them through the winter, but they're really tough. So I've come to Maggot. It's a small lake here. It is, now you should be fishing at dawn, Graeme, you know that. That is just before 9:30. I've had my baits in. Ground bait went about 9. Swim feeder and hook baits went in about 15 minutes ago. So I'm set up with swim feeders at distance. Now, this is a gravel pit. It's very, very clear. I've fished it twice before, I think. So it's a nice tench in. It's not a giant tench water, but there's a nice tench in here. But it's different from the last time I came. I only come like once a year. There's gravel bars out there, and traditionally you fish on the edge of the gravel bars for the tench. But I'm thinking, well, I don't know where the gravel bars are, but there's weed growing there. So would the weed grow on the gravel bar or off the edge of the gravel bar? So out here, there are quite a few gravel bars, but what I look round for are tench bubbles, tench blowing, where they're feeding on the bottom naturally. There's a couple of other anglers just turned up. They're fishing just down here from me. But I chose this swim purely because I caught close in there before. I could see the fish then. I can't see them today. It's cloudy, drizzly, muggy. Could work in my favour. Could get a tench feeding. But I'm about 40 yards out there, and I'm in between a gap in the weeds, and I'm hoping that's on the edge of a gravel bar. There are in fact some bubbles blowing up there, coming up from the bottom, so I'm figuring they're tench, 90% sure they're tench. Very, very occasional, I think, smaller carp in here. And I've got a couple of bobbins on here, and I've already had one beep, but I feel that was a liner. It's a fish going into the liner. So I'll show you what the lake looks like. The thing is, with this amount of weed out there, because I'm not a local to this water, I'm tending to think that the weed is growing on top of the shallowest part of the gravel bars, because that's the closest place to the sunlight. That's how I'm working it out in my mind. Here you can see some tench bubbles. Now, tench bubbles, fairly distinct, because you can get perch making bubbles on the bottom, and they come up, you know, when they're digging and rooting around, but tench bubbles tend to, what can I say, they look sort of foamy. They look like washing up liquid, detergent, that type of foamy bubble, and they tend to stay on the surface a lot longer. They don't pop. Carp will also make bubbles, but they will be much larger bubbles and less of them. So I was just sitting there with my bait right amongst the best tench bubbles I've seen for years. Everything remained motionless. Well, let's just listen to the pleasant sound of the English countryside. Well, I think I might lose the polarising glasses. I don't feel they're going to be of much benefit today. A very untench-like day. It's a question of a tench, my kingdom for a tench. I mean, I've baited up down here as well, and I've just sort of stood on this bit of tree here, and I can't see any shape, so I'm jobbed to see anything, but I think I would have seen a shape. It's just still the odd blow of bubbles out there. The other two guys come up here and they said they were told it was not fishing well either. But look, I can see them without even zooming in. They're feeding on something. I just wondered if I should change tactics, and instead of the worm, which is worms, Maggots, traditional for tench, they've moved out from the channel. They're definitely coming this way. They're feeding on something. But a man alive, hour and a half, I have not had one beep. I'm wondering if I should use something like balanced crust. If my feeder and bait are in the weed, then I'm pretty well stuffed. But we use sometimes a piece of crust called balanced crust, a piece of flake and a little bit of crust, just so it sinks very slowly. So the feeder would be here and the bread would be here with a piece of balanced crust. We use it for carp. God, it's some years since I used it for tench, but it might be, because I don't know the weed situation here, it might be that I'd better use that in a minute, because I don't want to wind in because I'm going to get my hands wet. Very, very untension light conditions, but I feel it's time for a change. So what I've done is I've gone to a bigger hook there, a size 6, I think this one is, and I'm going to put 3 maggots, threading them right up the shank of the hook like this. By doing this, at least if I do get the bread eaten off, washed off, or it just soaks off, I have at least got something on the hook left there. Now if I hook the maggots on the normal way, look, I'll just show you, it's probably just easy if I show you. Use one maggot. If I hook the maggot on the normal way like this and then squeeze the bread flake over the top of that, the action of the maggot moving around is going to break the bread up and it'll fall off and end up with nothing. So this way at least I've got something on the hook when I put the bread flake round it, which is just like this. I'm going to fold it round once, tuck it, and I squeeze this top end here over the eye. I make a little pass like it, but don't crush it onto the hook like that. Then a bit of feeder filling with the ground bait. They're definitely out there bubbling, but I'm blowed if I can get a take out of them. I've got sweet corn, I've got some old floating casters, got some maggots in there, I've got everything you could want there except my sandwiches. And I'm going to keep sending that out there because I just have a feeling bread flake might just be the way, might make it stand out a little bit more. I can see them bubbling out there now. It's weird, it's bizarre, very, very strange to have bubbling tension. You get nothing, and I'm going to see if I can drop this right on those bubbles. Boom, right on them. Now don't tighten up. What I'm doing is sinking the line like this. It makes a little V on the surface. If you just tug it, keep tugging away like this, then it should sink and you're in a straight line. You haven't got it bowed like this. Especially if there's a wind, you get it bowed across, so there's a big loop in it even though it's underwater. This way it should be tight. Get it set up. It's going to be a tough one today, guys, I can tell. At least the rain stopped. And then on goes the bobbin, which is a washing up bottle top luxury version, super light, the cutback one. Gonna drop that down a little bit more than that. Now that's the theory, guys. That is the theory. Quite a short drop. I'll make sure quite a bit of drag on that reel. So there you go. Just a question of waiting. Very tempted to pound some more ground bait out there, but if I haven't caught a fish, there seems little point. They're eating it, but maybe they're feeding on the ground bait. Well, we got the silent shatter. We got the silent shatter by a gentleman with a strimmer ripping half the trees down over there, I think. I got my first fish. I changed the bread, but I put maggots underneath, and thank goodness I saved the blank with, wait for this, not a tench but a perch, but you can see all this weed on there, and I am beginning to wonder if I'm fishing into weed. Ah, he just stopped. He must have seen me have this fish. So there we are. Look, it's not a tench. The tench is still out there bubbling. Let's shine him that way. There's a little perch there. See, there's a little perch here. It's something. It saved the blank. It's not what I was after. Now I'll get him hooked and get it back. I've put a bigger hook on, a couple of maggots, and then bread over the top. Let's put him back. The perch is better than nothing at all. Just check out the number of different bubbles. Now you can tell there's at least 4 to 5 fish in that swim because the different distances between the bubbles popping up, and they are most definitely tench bubbles coming up. You can see what I mean when I say there's sort of, well, they're foamy, aren't they? They're sort of foamy. There's another fish on the right, look, just started bubbling. So those two fish are probably 5-6 feet apart there. The one on the right is having a major dig up. So they were definitely on my feed. And another one in the foreground I see coming up there. But they would not take my hook bait. Now look at this grebe with his hand under the water swimming around. He is looking for fish. Watch this. Look, he's looking. Now watch him do it again. One of our crested grebes. Look, he puts his head under the water. He spotted a fish. He digs down. Wait for this. I'm so pleased to get this all in one take. He's chasing a fish around on the lake bed. Where's he going to pop up? I'm trying to guess. It's like trying to follow a dolphin, a porpoise or a whale or something. Where they're going to come up with the water again. There's the bubbles. Look, where I figure he's got something. He's coming up on the left. My goodness me, what's he got there? I can't zoom in, but I'm going to say that's a small tench. It looks like a little baby tench. Might be a perch, but it's a tench or a perch. Now, he wants to sort of kill that and he wants to swallow it, obviously, as quick as he can, but he does not want to let it go. So he's got to change those beak positions, and he goes under the water to do that because he's got the water pressure to help him grip it. Now, you see, he's got it crossways. It's quite interesting, this. You can see how long he's holding it in his mouth. Now, the fish pretty well, it looks dead to me now. So all he's got to do is turn that fish, but he doesn't seem to want to turn it out in the open. He wants to do it. Oh, the fish was wiggling. Perhaps he's not dead yet. See, he goes under the water. He puts his beak under the water. Now he's got it head first. Look, he's trying to work it into a head first position, which a lot of predators do. Even pike swallow the fish head first, and he's going to try and throat that faster than Michael eating a cheeseburger. And down the hatch it goes. Well, there you go. You've seen something of nature, like one of those Blue Planet nature things with David Attenborough. That's his Graeme, who's got the exclusive footage of a grebe catching, eating and swallowing a lake fish. Meanwhile, I call nothing. Well, I'm afraid to say it appears not to be happening. I mean, you can see that grebe had better luck than I did at catching perch. Really perfect day for tench in the daytime. They've just been bubbling out there, and do you know what? I've been through every bait I can think of, even down to half, quarter and 1/8 size of pop-ups, because I'm thinking maybe my bait's in the weed. I'm just getting single tone little beeps. I've lost one tench in the weed, and then I just get these up and down like this, which I feel are these small perch, because I have got worm out there. And of course, the one I lost buried me in the weed, really good tench. Cannot believe it, but when it came back, this little curl, a little tag on the end of the line. I don't know if you ever had that before with you guys, and you know whose fault that is? That's right, it's the person that tied the knot. Moi. Do you know, I snipped that off really close, and I thought, that might pull through, Graeme. Why don't you retie it? No, get that bait in the water as soon as you can. Paid the price there, guys. Anyway, going to pack up now. I've now into nearly 9 hours for one take that I lost and one perch, so no tench. But I've got another place I'm going to try. It's a reservoir. It's down in Somerset. I was told about it. Big storm coming in tomorrow. It won't be tomorrow. I'm supposed to be going smoothhound fishing off the beach tomorrow, so I'll be doing that, and then as soon as I can I'll get you guys back out and see if we can't at least get you a tench. As you can see by the setting, it's absolutely idyllic, but it is absolutely stone dead. 2 other anglers next to me have blanked. Gentleman over the other side, over there, I think he's on a blank. I most certainly am. And there's no fish topping, there's no movement, there's no carp moving around. It is most peculiar. And it's the way it is, guys. And that's why they call it fishing and not catching.
We're in a slightly different environment. Dad's dragged me down here. I was actually going to do some bushcraft filming today for TA Outdoors, but he dragged me down here because he's droning on about some tench. And I'm not really a tench fisherman. I've caught tench before, but I've not really targeted them properly.
No, directly, no. We caught them on a carp trip once, you know, just as a sideline. But you saw me, I was over that hawcott fishery. Man alive, did I struggle. So the tip-off was... What's that bird? That's where. Down in Somerset, deepest Somerset, and just look at this setting here, guys. We're high up looking down over a huge vista there of greenery. It's fabulous, your peak time for the tench, but we're in a reservoir, and I've got to be honest, I've never fished reservoir tench, I don't believe, in my life before. But it's supposed to be big ones, isn't there?
There's supposed to be some big ones, yeah. We've spoken to a few people about this reservoir. I think it was some patrons, actually.
It was indeed, I think,
we
yeah.
met the big one who put us onto this. So thank you to the patron who did put us onto that.
Now, we could have fished by the car park. I think there's a couple of car park entrances here, but it's margin fishing. They say you can visually see these big tench, you know, well, I call them big. They're going to be 5, 6s and that. They're really
big to me.
Yeah, big for me. Trust me, I still have respect for fish that size. But we're talking to, I guess, the fishery manager from the water board came round, I guess permit checking or whatever, and he said the reason they're in the margins is because they feed on daphnia, which you get out in the water, which normally trout go mad for at certain times of year. Now, with the breeze blowing on shore like this, quite a breeze, isn't there?
Yeah.
We've noticed when we were walking and looking, we had to go pike fishing first, didn't we? Because they said, oh, there's pike in there. Well, there are, but we can't catch them. We noticed there was like a sort of current, wasn't there?
Yeah, there's movement.
There's movement in the water, a flow, a drag. And as we walked around, what we found out was the current goes one way, and it's circular concrete bowl. It's big, trust me, it's big.
It is big.
But also, when I walked way up the other side, I thought, hang on, the current's going from right to left, just drifting like this. Now, in the middle, which is almost the centre of the wind of this bowl, isn't there?
Yeah.
We noticed lots of birds, bird activity, diving, that sort of thing. Bear in mind, it's deep reservoir. We figured that might be a good spot. And I think that's where the daphnia bloom, excuse me, I think that's where that daphnia bloom is holding up there. And I think that's where, well, we had a walk, we have seen some big tench.
Yeah, we've seen some, yeah.
We walked down with the gear. So we're going to give it a go. Basic setup, they said, just with a swim feeder. Let's get some baits in the water. Okay, so what I'm using, I've got my normal tench reel with 6-pound line on. I'm using one of these cage feeders. I think I used it last time when I didn't catch anything, stopping it with a shot. But because they said it can get some weed here, and you don't need distance casting, 2 rod lengths out, that's all. I've got quite a long tail there, and I think they use plastic pop-ups and maggots and stuff like that to keep it up here. I got a bunch of dead maggots here because I didn't want them wriggling in the weeds, so I used dead ones. And what I do is take a piece of crust, just like this, and I put it over the hook. So just very lightly. So when this feeder goes down, the crust is going to rise, it will dissolve, small fish might peck at it. If they don't, it doesn't matter because it's like a target for the tench as well. That's how we used to fish years ago. This was our pop-up years ago, guys. A bunch of maggots, bunch of worms, and a tiny crust of bread like that. So the feeder goes down. Now normally I bump my feeders, but they said here, don't bump the feeder. Let it go straight down. If it is in weed, this will rise above it, and hopefully the tench picks it off the weed. I've got some ground bait, and all I'm going to do is squeeze in the ground bait here. It's got dead maggots, dead casters. Well, it's not dead casters, all frozen out the freezer. Bit of bread, ground bait, you know the score, totally awesome. And I'm just going to make a ball like that around that cage feeder. There we go, there's my bait. Let's get it out there. Back here, put it in the feet holder. Now I'll talk about the other thing I've got is my buzzers here, because you can float fish here obviously, but the wind's right in our face here. No, it's not a stiff wind, but it's annoying. It wouldn't be great float fishing. So I'm just going to wind down, rest my line fairly low there, and put my bobbin just on the inside here, so there is a little bit of slack. And what will happen is, by the time I get the other rod here to balance it, that will all be a bow in the line. But because it's all concrete here, you'll see up there it's just a concrete slope in stages like this. It's not like a dangerous chute that you're going to slip down. I dare say people will slip down it. Get one of those rod pods that you can adjust if you do come here, and obviously make sure you have a mat as well. You can get, this is just a day ticket place, and I just leave a little bobbin like this, just weighted, just a little bit of slack. It takes tension, and if I put anything the other side, I'm going to get one beep all the time. Without, really annoying. is that a fish or not? You know, so that's the one I'm fishing at the moment. Let's get the second rod out there.
So we've been, it's a few hours later now, we've been here a couple of hours, we've done some stalking, we've only brought 3 rods with us, so we've done some stalking on this white kanji, which we've only got a simple rig, it's just literally a hook and a split shot, which is just fallen off actually.
BB, yeah. Okay.
But it's not tench gear at all, this is pike, we use this for pike fishing, pollock fishing and island as well.
Good rod.
But we saw a big one, didn't we?
Yeah, we've seen several tench in the margins, just like the guy said. Really close, what, 2-3 feet of water?
Yeah, really close.
Man, are they tricky to hook though.
Yeah.
Right, so what we're using, you had to go slow sinking
Just
bread flake.
Yeah, slow sinking bread really.
And I put a couple of balls of ground bait along there, but they're just going along the edges of that drop off of the shelf. And I think, as the fishery guy said, they probably are feeding on Daphne, so they're tough to catch. So we're going to call it quits. We got stuffed yet again, but listen, we've given it a go, and we've been here coming up 4 hours. Four hours, yeah. Took us 2.5 hours to get here.
Yeah.
So we got to get back, got to get home. Dawn and dusk, obviously the best times to tench fishing. Time we found the place, whole different ball game, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Had a bit of an argument with a woman on the sat nav, you know, the one that talks to you, you know, at the next roundabout, turn left. Which roundabout?
Yeah.
But anyhow, we've given it a go. I thought we would get you a picture of a tench. There's one guy fishing right around the other side. Going to walk past him. If he's happy to talk to us, we'll see if we get a bit of information from him. Who knows, he might have had a fish or two. They're here, there's no question there's fished at least 7 pounds we've seen here. Big tench, but blowed if we can catch them. So, packing up time, we'll check that guy out on the way back. Well, here with Ron. Ron beat us to the punchies here early today. What time did you get it, Ron?
Oh, it's about 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock, yeah. So, I mean, you don't need the early start, really, like we used to years ago, what, 3 or 4 in the morning?
No, these sorts of waters, I mean, they're very clear.
Yeah.
But they warm up slowly. It's a big bowl.
It
really
is
is
a
a
big
big
bowl.
bowl.
We've got to walk around it, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so standard procedure here is what? Feeder fishing?
Usually
couple
feeder
of rod
fishing.
lengths out?
Yeah, just a couple of rod lengths. The bottom's very mucky.
Yes.
Although they're steps, you try and float fish, you drag into the silkweed and stuff on the bottom,
really?
so you don't get great presentation.
Yes.
But if you fish a feeder, then so much
How
the
long
better.
a tail would you use on the feeder? Is it like short or
Yeah,
do you have to
generally,
let it come down and sink?
Well, I use helicopters. Sometimes
Yes.
you'll catch them on popped up corn.
Yes.
Sometimes on the old plastic maggots and casters, which I guess about. I had a little female 5'8" and a little male about 4 pounds.
So they're decent tench, you know.
They're
there's a big
decent.
tench in it.
I think if you got if you get a 7, you've done well.
Sure.
It's a good fish. That's a good fish. They can. I've always wanted an 8 out of here because that'd be a Somerset 8, and that would be a good fish.
That'd be something, yeah.
Yeah, it really would. A lot of the lads reckon, oh, I've had 9s and all that. Well,
Yeah.
it's a bit.
It's a big fish, and at £9
A
tench,
9
yeah.
pound tench is a very big fish. I've had fish that big from other waters,
Sure.
but I'd like an 8 out of here. I've had them to 7.7.
Tench is traditional English fish.
Yeah,
brilliant.
it's a proper tench water. There are plenty of blanks to be had, mind.
I'm sure,
You
yeah.
can see how clear it is. It's
Yes.
not easy. It has its days.
Exactly.
And you get used to be. A few years ago, you could catch maybe up to 20 at a sitting,
20. Bloody hell.
and they were all 5.5 to 6.5.
Big fish, yeah. Well, I think that's a big fish still. You
Yeah,
know.
it's still a very big fish, but that's the way it was. And the numbers aren't there now as they were,
Yes.
but there are some better.
Show us
Look how
about the
wiry that is. Well, feel it.
Oh, it's weird, and it's like a sort of calcified material.
It's really,
Oh, it's-
really
yeah, it's
tough.
If they go into it.
You lose.
Yes.
You lose your fish. And there's no life in it. It's not alive.
Oh, I see. No shrimps or snails
no,
or anything.
it's quite.
Bizarre stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody
And
out there, tell us what it is. Don't know what they call that one.
You can see it where the dark is,
Yes.
and that's it. And you got the arrowheads and what have you, but that's stuff.
So that's the importance in using a popped-up bait. You know, like plastic ones,
Oh,
anything to bring it up the
yeah.
bottom a little bit so they can
Yeah.
see it.
I'm just fishing little helicopter rigs at the moment.
Oh, that's
I was
brilliant.
fishing worm kebabs and what have you, and getting murdered with the perch this morning.
Oh, are they little stuff like this?
Oh, look, tiny
Yeah.
ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Now those are the first I've seen this year.
Yes.
Just typical this morning.
Wow.
Just the way it is. The absolute must, unhooking mats.
Yes, absolutely, yes. Yeah, for the concrete, yeah.
Yeah, I have two because.
Yeah, because they can bounce or anything, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's slightly spawned out.
It's a lovely fish.
You see how flash it is? See how flat it is at the bottom?
Yeah, it's got the big scoops here, Mike.
Oh,
You get in and show the
definitely
scoops for male fish. That's, you get those big scoops.
Oh, he's not bad. He's 6'4".
Yeah, if we be 6, yeah.
6'4"
male. That's the biggest male I've ever seen. Other than you, that is.
That is a beauty.
Oh, it's a cracker, yeah, for a male fish. Huge for a male.
Nice fish, isn't he?
Isn't he a lovely one, yeah.
Nice fish.
You had many this morning?
That's my 4th.
That's your 4th, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you one of the club members, or do you get your ticket from the petrol station? You just come down.
I have been a club member in the past, but I've just got a ticket from the station this morning.
Yeah, they said we were down there. I said, how many come? They said only one guy come here early. That must be you. That was you.
It was me, yeah.
But it's worth coming early or not necessarily, is it?
No. I don't think it fishes better in the
lovely
earlier.
fish, mate. Look at his eyes.
Yeah, he's
Little
so
red
nice.
eye, Jim.
Do you want me to turn him over?
Yeah, if you can hold him
Yeah.
up under your face,
That'd
just so
be
they
lovely,
get an
yeah.
idea. Folks, get an idea. Eat your heart out, you tench fishers.
That's such a nice fish.
£6 plus male tench. That's a beauty. That is a cracker. Just touch his time that way. They can see him there, can
Yeah,
they?
it's lovely, yeah, it's such a nice fish.
Well done.
Oh.
And you fish quite close in here, they say. You know,
Yeah,
you don't-
just
not too far out.
Not too far out.
Thanks for watching the Totally Awesome Fishing Show. At least we got to show you a decent tench. And don't forget to watch Mike's Outdoor Show. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys the next film.